everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Clement and I'm the Principal Consultant in Sake and Tea of the Beverage Clique. Since this is the first video on sake, I'll be talking about polishing ratio and also tasting sakes after. So before we begin, I'll introduce two concepts. The first, say my boy. So what is say my boy? It's the remainder of the original rice grain expressed as a percentage. So 40% say my boy means 40% of the rice grains remains. Next, we look at the composition of rice. Notice the whiter portion of the rice. This is called the shimpaku, also known as the white part. This part of the rice grain contains a high proportion of starch, whereas the part surrounding it contains more of the other elements. Generally speaking, if the rice grain is less polished, the sake tends to be fuller in body and tastes more rustic. If it is highly polished, flavor tends to be pure, lighter, fruity and floral. Okay, so here's a table with the various polishing ratios you would normally encounter for premium sakes. At the bottom, if rice grain is polished to about 100% or less, the rice is called a junmai. If it's polished to 60% or less, it is called a junmai ginjo. And if it's polished to 50% or less, it is called a junmai daiginjo. This also means that if a sake rice is polished to 23% say my boy, it can be labeled as a junmai daiginjo or even a junmai if they want to. So those on the right column that hasn't got any junmai on it, this means that alcohol has been added to the sake. So remember, the more polished the sake is, the more it tends to be pure, fruity and floral. So enough talking and more tasting. Today we'll be tasting two sakes from Kozaemon. So here I'll be tasting two sakes from Kozaemon. So this is the first sake I'll be tasting. So this is a daiginjo and it's a 50% say my boy. For this one, the color is colorless. There's a bit of almost like a gold, yellow gold hue. On the nose, this is very, very fruity and very floral. I get strawberries, I get bananas, I get melons, pears, and even some exotic fruits like soursop and guava. And for the floral side, I get like lilies. There's also some complexity in this. I get some steamed rice, steamed barley, and almost like some green herbs like sage. Yeah. So move on to the tasting. Oh, this sake is very light. It's very linear. Lots of clean flavors. The flavors are very subtle, very light. After you swallow the sake, you get a bit of the umami and the pear skin flavor. It emanates from the middle of your tongue. Really, really enjoyable. I can imagine pairing this with, I don't know, like a fruit salad or carpaccio, or for Japanese food, I can pair this with maybe a marinated sashimi or marinated sushi, or even any delicate fish dishes. Really, really enjoy. Now I move on to the next sake. So this is a junmai shu, the junmai shu from Kozaemon, and this is a 65% say my boy. So for this one, compared to the daiginjo, the color is a bit lighter. It's almost colorless, but I can see there's almost a bit like a platinum hue on the edges. Surprisingly, on the nose, it's still a bit fruity. I get a bit of melons and banana skin. I get a bit of steamed rice and steamed barley. So this is a bit more simple compared to the daiginjo. I don't get a lot of the fruits and a lot of the florals coming out. So this one on the palate, it's still very clean, but it's also very refreshing. It's almost got like a tangerine refreshingness to it. There's a higher acidity, I would say, compared to the Daiginjo. There's more acidity, it's more refreshing. The flavors are, you get a bit of the milky, creamy flavors coming out after you swallow especially. And you can compare, it's a bit fuller and bigger compared to the Daiginjo. Yeah? For this sake, I can definitely recommend pairing with any chicken dish or like even fish dishes that are like heavily flavored, Asian food, a lot of Western food even, yeah, like a carbonara. It will definitely cut through the creaminess of the carbonara for this. So in conclusion for today, both sakes have a form of crystal clear clarity. Both are really, really enjoyable. For the Daiginjo, this one is really fruity, very floral, lots of complexity to it. I would actually recommend drinking this alone by itself or with very, very light and delicate dishes. And for the Junmai Shu, that one's a bit fuller, even though it's clean, but it's got very high acidity, so it's very, very refreshing. That one you can definitely pair with more dishes, and it's very, very, very yummy for a Junmai Shu. Thank you everyone for watching today. If you like our content, please like and subscribe our channel. And if you have any comments for future sake videos, please comment down below. Thank you everyone and see you again. Bye!